Hello, I'm Suparna Shri and you're watching Jagran English Global. In this bulletin, we bring you to a comprehensive roundup of the day's top story, which is the Israel-Palestine conflict. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which has claimed tens of thousands of lives and displaced millions, has its origin in a colonial deed committed more than a century ago, with Israel launching war on Gaza on October 7th in a response to an unprecedented attack by the armed Palestinian group Hamas. The world's attention is once again focused on what might happen next. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel has warned that the struggle against Hamas will be long and difficult. Watch our report to know what he said. The Israel-Palestine conflict rages on its fourth day with no signs of a ceasefire. Israel continues to target Hamas' key hideouts in its robust retaliation following a devastating surprise attack by Hamas on Israel, which tragically claimed over 700 lives and left 2,300 injured. In response to the ongoing crisis, Israel has mobilized an impressive 30 lakh troops. On October 9th, Prime Minister Netanyahu stated unequivocally that Israel didn't initiate the conflict but is determined to bring it to a resolution.
Israel is at war. We didn't want this war. It was forced upon us in the most brutal and savage way. But though Israel didn't start this war, Israel will finish it. Once the Jewish people were stateless. Once the Jewish people were defenseless. No longer. Hamas will understand that by attacking us, they've made a mistake of historic proportions. We will exact a price that will be remembered by them and Israel's other enemies for decades to come. The savage attacks that Hamas perpetrated against innocent Israelis are mind-boggling, slaughtering families in their homes, massacring hundreds of young people at an outdoor festival, kidnapping scores of women, children, and elderly, even Holocaust survivors. Hamas terrorists bound, burned, and executed children. They are savages. Hamas is ISIS. And just as the forces of civilizations united to defeat ISIS, the forces of civilization must support Israel in defeating Hamas.
He expressed gratitude for the unwavering support of US President Joe Biden.
I want to thank President Biden for his unequivocal support. I want to thank leaders across the world who are standing with Israel today. I want to thank the people and Congress of the United States of America. In fighting Hamas, Israel is not only fighting for its own people, it is fighting for every country that stands against barbarism. Israel will win this war. And when Israel wins, the entire civilized world.
Earlier, Hamas launched a barrage of rockets into southern and central Israel, resulting in several Israelis being taken hostage in Gaza. Heroic efforts to rescue these hostages have been ongoing for the past 3 days. Now we will take a look at how Hamas breached Israel's Iron Dome system. The Iron Dome system is a ground-to-air, short-range air defense system deployed around the country to fight rocket strikes, unmanned aerial vehicles, etc. at close range. Take a look at our next report to know the details of the Iron Dome system. Nobody could have predicted how Hamas would strike Israel, launching thousands of rockets one after the other. All of this occurred at a time when the Israeli army is regarded as one of the strongest in the world. It has Mossad, the world's most powerful intelligence service. It is believed that Israel's Iron Dome defense shield makes it really hard to attack. The question that stands here is, how Hamas launched an attack despite the presence of the Iron Dome system to safeguard Israeli skies. But first, let's take a look at Israel's Iron Dome system. It is one of the best air defense systems in the world, whose success percentage is claimed to be more than 90%. This is a ground-to-air air defense system which was developed by Israel with the help of America. Israel has been using it since 2011. In fact, during the 2006 Lebanon conflict, Hezbollah fired thousands of rockets at Israel. These attacks forced Israel to strengthen its air defense system. After this, during the 2-week-long Israel-Palestine conflict in May 2021, more than 4,500 rockets were fired. It is claimed that during this period, Israel's Iron Dome system showed a strike rate of 90% against the rockets. But despite these advantages, Hamas discovered its weakness. This time, Hamas launched salvo rocket attacks, which means it fired many rockets in a short time. This was the reason why it became difficult for the Israel's Iron Dome system to stop these attacks. According to statistics, Hamas fired more than 5,000 rockets in just 20 minutes. Since the rockets were of short range, by the time the system could retaliate, devastation has already occurred. Meanwhile, you should also know what is this war all about. Here's everything you need to know about the main characters and the important context of this unfolding story. In a shocking turn of events, the Palestinian militant group Hamas launched an unprecedented attack on Israel, shaking the region to its core. Here's what you need to know about the key players and the critical context behind this unfolding story. What is Hamas? Hamas, ruling the Gaza Strip, is dedicated to Israel's destruction and seeks to establish an Islamic state. Since taking power in 2007, it's been engaged in multiple conflicts with Israel, firing thousands of rockets and conducting deadly attacks. Hamas explained. Hamas is designated a terrorist group by Israel, the United States and the European Union and the UK. It's backed by Iran, receiving funding, weapons and training from the country. What is Gaza Strip? The Gaza Strip is a densely populated territory sandwiched between Israel, Egypt and the Mediterranean Sea, home to 2.3 million people facing severe restrictions on movement and trade. About 80% of Gaza's population relies on international aid, while 1 million people depend on daily food assistance, highlighting the dire humanitarian situation. Palestine and conflict origins. The West Bank, Gaza, East Jerusalem, and Israel were historically known as Palestine. Israel's establishment in 1948 remains a contentious issue, with Palestinians using the term Palestine to encompass these territories. Why did Hamas attack now? Hamas' sudden attack in October occurred amidst escalating tensions sparked by the deadliest year on record for Palestinians in the West Bank. The motive could be to pressure Israel to release Palestinian prisoners and gain popularity among Palestinians. Hamas' latest operation is its most ambitious, reaching the Gaza-Israel border in multiple places. This attack, coinciding with the 50th anniversary of a historic Middle East war, underscores its significance. Israel's intelligence failure. The audacity of this attack raises questions about Israel's intelligence. Despite extensive surveillance and security measures, Hamas successfully infiltrated Israel, raising concerns about a major intelligence lapse. Let's explore the complex history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict spanning over a century, unraveling the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a century of struggle. Delve into the roots and dynamics of this enduring struggle that has shaped the Middle East. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a long-standing and deeply entrenched struggle, has claimed countless lives and displaced millions over a century. Understanding its roots is essential to grasp the current situation. In recent days, Israel declared war on the Gaza Strip after an unprecedented attack by the Hamas, the Palestinians' military group. But this conflict traces its origins back to the Balfour Declaration of 1917, when Britain pledged support for a Jewish homeland in Palestine. Balfour Declaration. More than a century ago, the Balfour Declaration committed to establishing a national home for Jewish people in Palestine, despite Palestinians making up over 90% of the population. This declaration set the stage for the conflict. Arab Revolt. Tensions escalated leading to the Arab Revolt in the 1930s, a response to the British colonialism and Jewish immigration. The revolt was met with brutal repression, intensifying the conflict. UN Partition Plan. In 1947, the UN proposed a partition plan allocating 56% of Palestine to a Jewish state, despite Palestinians owning 94% of the land. Palestinians rejected this, leading to the Arab-Israeli War in 1948. Nakba. The 1948 war resulted in the Nakba, the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. Hundreds of villages were destroyed and 750,000 Palestinians were displaced, setting the stage for everlasting grievances. Oslo Accords. In 1993, the Oslo Accords brought temporary peace, establishing the Palestinians' authority. However, the conflict continued due to the unresolved issues, leading to the Second Intifada in 2000. Gaza blockade and war. In 2007, Israel imposed a blockade on Gaza, leading to repeated wars and immense suffering for Palestinians. Thousands lost their lives and the blockade hindered reconstruction. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, rooted in a complex history of displacement, colonization, and political disputes, persists today. Its resolution remains a global challenge as the world watches with hope for a peaceful future. Hello, I'm Suparna Shri and you're watching Jagran English Global. In this bulletin, we bring you to a comprehensive roundup of the day's top story, which is the Israel-Palestine conflict. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which has claimed tens of thousands of lives and displaced millions, has its origin in a colonial deed committed more than a century ago, with Israel launching war on Gaza on October 7th in a response to an unprecedented attack by the armed Palestinian group Hamas. The world's attention is once again focused on what might happen next. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel has warned that the struggle against Hamas will be long and difficult. Watch our report to know what he said. The Israel-Palestine conflict rages on its fourth day with no signs of a ceasefire. Israel continues to target Hamas' key hideouts in its robust retaliation following a devastating surprise attack by Hamas on Israel, which tragically claimed over 700 lives and left 2,300 injured. In response to the ongoing crisis, Israel has mobilized an impressive 30 lakh troops. On October 9th, Prime Minister Netanyahu stated unequivocally that Israel didn't initiate the conflict, but is determined to bring it to a resolution.
Israel is at war. We didn't want this war. It was forced upon us